Yes, hello and welcome again to our class. I know you expect us to learn. This is Midian Tech, your space for creative learning. Yes, and our happiness is seeing you smile at the end. Yeah, so today we are learning about designing in Photoshop. This is the interface. This is the interface of Photoshop. This is how it looks like. And before we even begin, there are some things we call the basics of designing. I always tell people that the first step of being a great designer is owning a good laptop, and I believe you have one. So graphic design is something good because it helps us to express our ideas in a visual way and in a creative way. But first we have to learn about the building blocks of design. For example, I'll use this analogy. Before you build a house, you need the materials, right? uh, Let me write here so that we 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 work the building blocks of uh, remember I'm using my the same Photoshop that to we are supposed to use to design as my whiteboard, so you can see it here as many uses. Building blocks of graphic design. Yeah, so I was giving an analogy of, as you're building a house, you must have the materials. These are the raw ingredients. For example, if you have to cook, you must have the ingredients, that is onions, the flour and all that. So the building blocks of, or rather the raw materials for graphic design include the line. Let me just type here. We have the line. Let me just increase the size here so that I'm able to type. So I'm saying about the line. The line can either be straight, can be curved, can be thick or thin. Lines create paths, they define shapes and imply movement. So that's the first building block of for design. The next building block is the first one you've said is the line. That's the first building block. Then the second one is the shape. Now the shape is the geometric or organic. When I say geometric, that's shapes are either circles or squares. The shapes create the for example, you can use shapes for different things. Yeah, we will see it as we design. Then the next building block is the texture. The texture is the visual feel of a surface. The texture of something. Even on a flat screen, texture adds depth. Yeah. So the third building block is texture. Yeah, the texture. So the things I'm writing here, these are basically the ingredients or the raw materials for design. Then the next one is the color. So for good design, first they must have the four things. It must have the line which defines the path, it must have shape, then texture, and then color. Then the last one is something we call space, or rather the negative space. The negative space is the area between or around elements. Yes, it defines boundaries. For example, if you have a title here, the space between the title and the photo, that's a negative space. Okay, yeah. So the next thing, let's check the principles of design. Okay, yeah. So I want us to check the principles of design. The principles of design. The first principle, the things we have looked at before, they are called the ingredients. Now the principles, they are the recipe. Okay, I want to believe that we know what our recipe is. Let me just type here and usisahau, so that you don't forget. These are the recipe, the procedure now you follow when doing something. So the first one is the or rather the principle of the design. This is how you arrange the elements to create a message. Okay, so the first one is hierarchy. There's something we call hierarchy. Hierarchy is the order in which the human eye perceives what it sees. Okay, for example, the tools for hierarchy, we have the size. The biggest thing is the most important. Then the brightest color is the most important also, and also the placements. So kwa hierarchy, we have three tools: the size, the color, and the placements. Okay, yeah, so you have to check those things. The second one is balance. Balance is how you have distributed your things on this on the workspace and how well they are. Okay, then the third one is contrast. Contrast contrast happens when two elements are different. If everything is the same size and color, nothing is important. Okay, contrast. So one thing must be different from another, so that it is the antidote to boredom, that like it prevents boredom of the design. Okay, yeah. Then the last one is a repetition. Repetition. So repeating colors, fonts, or shapes throughout a design to create a sense of unity and branding. For example, if it's Safaricom, they use the green in all their designs, the green and red. So they have that brand. So that's what we call repetition. Okay, yeah. So the next thing we'll look at is typography basics. Typography basics. Typography basics. Typography is not just picking a font. I want us to get that. It is the art of arranging type to make language visible. Okay, it is not just selecting. It is the art of arranging type to make language visible. For example, if I use Montserrat for the main header, then I need to check another font for something else. All right, yeah. Then the next thing we look at is file formats and color modes File formats and color modes. It refers to a designer must know the technical handshake between their computer and the final product. So color modes, we have the RGB. So the RGB basically stands for red, green, and blue. It's used for anything on a screen. Okay, it is additive lights. So anything that will be shared via the screens, for example, via WhatsApp, via Facebook, use the RGB. Then the CMYK color mode, it stands for, let me just write here, the CMYK, it stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. This is used for anything being printed. So it is attractive ink. We look at the file types. We have EPS or AI. These are vector files. For those who use Adobe Illustrator, this is how you save the final product. Then we have the PSD. These are raster files, pixel based, used for photos. The AI or the EPS vector files, let me just write here, EPS stroke AI. They are used for logos. Okay, these are used for logos. Then we have PSD, which is used for photos. Yeah, that now this is the file format for anything that comes from Photoshop. Then we have JPG. These are compressed image. Then PNG supports transparency, best for web graphics stroke logos. Then we have PDF, the universal standard for sharing and printing. Okay, yeah. The design process. Let us look at the design process. The design process. So the design process, one is the brief. The brief is about understand the goal, who is the audience, what is the mood. So it's just basically understanding what's the design about. Then number two, research. Look at competitors and find inspiration. For example, you can check Pinterest, search for, and I always tell many people, look for something that inspires you, inspiration. Okay, then the next one is now sketching. Before you design actually with the software, make sure first you have written it on a piece of paper. You can't just come here and start designing while you do not have the sketch. Okay, yeah. The next one is called, the next step is drafting. Now drafting is build the best 2 to 3 concepts. Now design 2 to 3 concepts digitally. Okay, and then the last one is critic and revision. Critic and revision basically means design is an iterative process. So after you have done your design, send it to the owner. The owner checks it, then tells you the mistakes, then you correct them. So that's how that's the last step you do. Okay, then a design shouldn't just look cool, it has to solve a problem or communicate a specific message. Don't just design for the sake. A design must communicate a specific message. Okay, yeah. So I think we have held the basics of design. Then I would want to tell you that design isn't just about looking good, it's about being functional for everyone, including people with visual impairments. So your design should be a design that serves everyone. Don't just don't just design it for the sake, it must serve everyone. Then beginners have the tendency of placing everything right in the center, which can feel static and boring. So there's something we call the grid system, a series of, we just write here, grid system. This is a series of invisible vertical and horizontal line that help you align elements. It's the skeleton of a layout. So actually some of us, I see them using the grid. The grid helps you to this is where you get the grid. You just press the view, then I think the grid should be somewhere. Yeah, grid. So this is the grid. So beginners have the tendency of placing everything here, using the center alignment so much. Yeah. Then the next thing you should never forget is there are rules that may make you to be sued if you if you violate them. For example, copyrights. Yes, you cannot just look for an image from, let's say, Pinterest and use it on your designs. You can get sued for that. Okay, so don't find yourself in the don't find yourself in the wrong because of using somebody's picture without their permission. Then the critics, about critics, designers, don't take it personally. The client isn't attacking your soul. They are attacking a solution that isn't working for them yet. Yeah. So what you should do is ask why. For example, if a client says they don't like blue, ask them why. To find out why they don't like it. Okay. Yeah. Don't take it so. Don't take it so personal. Then, as we conclude the class, perfection is achieved not when there is nothing more to add, but when there is nothing left to take away. Yeah, so that's the concluding statements, that perfection is achieved not when there is nothing more to add, but when there is nothing left to take away. Okay, so I believe you have learned the basics of design, and in our next tutorial we will be doing the actual design. Yes, I hope you have got the design workflow. The design workflow is very important. We start with the brief, then you research, you sketch, then you draft, then you feedback and critics. So that's the design flow. So anytime before you design, you must first understand what the design is about, then research about it, find an inspiration, then you must sketch it on a paper, then you draft it digitally. Okay, so in our next tutorial we will be designing a poster. We will be doing a real design, and I hope that we will work together. In case of any question, you can just ask on the comment section or get us via our contact number. Yeah, so see you in our next class.